feel I got the speed. I got the reach over. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Skill-wise, I give him. I think he's a better fighter.
Crawford going up. I believe he can put a beating on anybody 154, 160.
Terence Crawford recently went off on Canelo Alvarez live on air, boldly stating why he believes he's the superior fighter. While he acknowledged that Canelo may have the advantage in size and power, Crawford emphasized that he holds the edge in speed, reach, and, most importantly, skill. He confidently asserted that the opponents Canelo has defeated in the past weren't as strong or as skillful as he is, though he made it clear he meant no disrespect to them. Addressing the doubts surrounding his ability to step up and fight, Crawford said that skepticism only fuels his determination. He praised Canelo as a great fighter but insisted that his own precise technique, adaptability, and pure boxing skills set him apart. Whether the fight happens or not, Crawford is making it known that he's ready for the challenge.
I got the speed over. I got the reach. I got the reach over. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Would it be more of a cat and mouse? The reality is Canelo does put people out. From Kirkland to Amir Khan to just...
Don't do
obviously.
I'm just saying, man.
No, but he's not Kovalev.
Kovalev was older. He does. Don't get me wrong. He does have a lot. But all those guys that you name is not as skillful as me. I'm sorry. No disrespect to none of those fighters. The skill level is 90.
So how do you see a fight with Canelo?
Tough fight. Canelo is a great fighter. Like, I always had respect for Canelo, but I just believe in my skills. The fact that people doubt me, it just fueled me even more. Try to get the fight even more. And I'm watching them, I'm like, man, I can beat this dude. I've been fighting people bigger than me all my life, and I always came out on top. You gonna get hit. It's a fight. He gonna get hit too. It'll be
Jeff Mayweather shared his thoughts on the potential showdown between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, highlighting the contrast in their styles and what it would take for Crawford to win. According to Mayweather, Crawford holds the edge in skill, but Canelo is a dominant force in his weight class, making the challenge much greater for Crawford, who would need to fight a near-perfect fight to secure victory. A key point Mayweather emphasized is that both fighters are aging, and, at this stage in their careers, it's uncertain when either might begin to decline. While both remain among the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world, the question of who is closer to their prime could play a major role in the outcome. A slight drop in sharpness from either fighter could ultimately be the deciding factor in what promises to be a highly competitive bout.
Skill-wise, I give him. I think he's a better fighter than Canelo, but Canelo's also a great fighter but he owns that weight class that he's in. So I would just say that I think that Crawford has to fight almost a perfect fight to win. And take advantage of it.
Mayweather sees a path to victory for Crawford, primarily through his superior skill set and ability to capitalize on Canelo's mistakes. However, he also acknowledges that it could be a razor-close fight, where Crawford might win by decision, or just as easily lose by a narrow margin. The challenge of moving up multiple weight classes is significant for Crawford, but if he can maintain his speed and precision while handling Canelo's power, he has a real shot at victory. Ultimately, the fight would come down to execution. Canelo's experience in higher weight classes gives him a physical advantage, but Crawford's boxing IQ and adaptability could help him overcome that. If the fight happens, it would be a fascinating clash of skill versus size, with Crawford needing to outbox and outthink Canelo over 12 rounds to emerge victorious.
Both guys are aging, and you never know. You never know when they're going to show their age. So it could be either one of them that does that. But I mean, I just lean to a Crawford because I just he has so many skills, and I mean, I just see that him possibly winning the fight by decision, but could also lose post decision.
Teddy Atlas offered a fascinating perspective on the upcoming Crawford versus Canelo fight, highlighting the historical element of boxing where smaller, more skilled fighters have occasionally outmaneuvered bigger, stronger opponents. He acknowledged that many are beginning to believe Terence Crawford could be that rare smaller fighter who beats a great bigger fighter. Much like in the old days when catchweights were more common, Atlas questioned whether people were viewing Canelo's size the wrong way. Instead of seeing it as an insurmountable disadvantage for Crawford, he suggested that the key to victory might lie in Crawford's intelligence, slickness, and speed. Could he be too quick, too smart, and too skilled to allow Canelo to impose his size and power? That's what boxing is supposed to be about. The science of hitting without getting hit, not just brute force.
We had the Crawford. It looked like we had the Crawford. We were talking about that. Can a really great small guy beat a really good big guy? You know, we were getting into that mind frame again. Some people were saying, "Oh, Canelo's too big. Forget it." But we were getting into the right mind frame, the right with this great sweet science, with this sport that goes back longer than any other sport in the world, where catch weights used to be in the 20s to 30s. Little guys beat big guys, and it wasn't that unusual. So we were starting to get into that frame of thinking. Okay, can this great guy Crawford, can he, instead of looking at it as a disadvantage that Canelo is so big?
The analogy Teddy Atlas used was powerful, comparing boxing to bullfighting, where the matador inevitably slaughters the bull. He argued that boxing shouldn't always be like that. Sometimes the bull has a chance to outmaneuver the matador, even if it's rare. That's what made the idea of the Crawford versus Canelo fight so intriguing. People were starting to believe it was possible. However, Atlas hinted at his frustration with the sport, suggesting that just when boxing builds excitement, something always seems to derail it. While he didn't specify exactly what, his words reflected boxing's history of missed opportunities and politics getting in the way of great matchups.
Maybe he'd be too smart, too slick, too quick. You know what I mean? Too special in those areas, not to allow Canelo to use his size and his counterpunching and everything else. And that's what the sweet science is about. You know, it's not supposed to be just about, letting a bull run out into the bull ring and then wait until the matador puts a spear in. It's supposed to be about the bull actually having a chance to outslick the matador, which don't happen too often. So now we were starting to get into interesting grounds. Okay, people were buying into it. Okay.
Conor Benn's take on the Crawford versus Canelo fight highlights the razor-thin margins in this matchup. Ben believes Terence Crawford has the ability to dominate anyone between 154 and 160 pounds due to his elite skill set, adaptability, and ring IQ. However, when it comes to Canelo, the equation changes. Unlike other opponents, Canelo is not only powerful, but also highly skilled, experienced, and battle-tested against some of the best fighters in the world. Ben essentially argues that while Crawford's skill gives him an advantage against most fighters in that weight range, Canelo presents a different kind of challenge. Canelo has proven he can handle slick, technical boxers and possesses the power to change a fight with a single punch. Crawford, on the other hand, is not just a power puncher but a master technician who wins fights through intelligence, precision, and strategy. This makes the matchup so intriguing. It's not just about size or power, but about who can better implement their game.
Crawford going up, I believe he can put a beating on anybody 154, 160.
But not 68.
Nah, Benavidez is...
Canelo. Yeah.
Oh, Canelo. I think he's a smart fighter. He doesn't rely on his power. Crawford ain't a fighter who just relies on his power. And then Canelo, when he's fought Berlanga, then fought Ryder, Munguia. It's even. I think it'd be a 50-50 fight if Crawford fought Canelo.
Joe Rogan praised Saudi Arabia's impact on boxing, emphasizing how Turki Al-Sheikh has played a key role in bringing elite fighters together for matchups that fans have long wanted to see. He acknowledged that Saudi Arabia has elevated the sport by making the biggest fights happen, regardless of traditional obstacles like promotional disputes or network conflicts. Rogan also expressed his belief that Terence Crawford has what it takes to defeat Canelo Alvarez, dismissing concerns about weight classes. In his view, Crawford's skill level is so high that it can overcome any physical disadvantages. Rogan sees boxing as more than just a battle of size and power. It's about technique, precision, and strategy. He believes Crawford possesses those qualities at an elite level, making him capable of handling a bigger opponent like Canelo. While Canelo is a proven champion with experience against top fighters, Rogan sees Crawford's technical superiority as the key factor. In his eyes, the weight difference matters less than the skill gap, making Crawford a real threat in this matchup.
Look at the elite of the elite boxers. To a man, to every one of them, they're disciplined. Yeah. And they stay focused. I'm so excited to see this fight with Canelo Alvarez because I think the Saudi Arabians have so much money. They're throwing so much money at boxing. And the guy who's the head of boxing over there wants to make that fight happen. I think Terence Crawford, forget about the 3 weight classes. I think he could beat Canelo.
I think he can.
Hearn discussed the complexities behind making the Canelo versus Crawford fight, highlighting scheduling as a key issue. He explained that while an agreement was in place for the fight, it wasn't finalized for May, as Canelo wanted to fight on his usual Cinco de Mayo weekend. With limited options available, Canelo's focus shifted to becoming undisputed. Hearn acknowledged that a Crawford fight would be even more significant if Canelo enters as the undisputed champion at 168 pounds. He emphasized how historic it would be for Crawford to challenge for a 3rd undisputed title, further solidifying his legacy.
One of the issues around the whole situation was they'd agreed the Crawford fight, but they hadn't agreed a May fight, and Canelo wanted to fight in May. And there aren't really a lot of options, but by beating Skull, you can become undisputed. And I feel like the fight with Crawford as an undisputed fight is pretty cool because Crawford's undisputed at 47 and 40, and he could become a 3-3 division.
Berlanga shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight, emphasizing that in boxing, anything can happen. He acknowledged that Crawford is already a legend in the sport, known for his exceptional skill, intelligence, and ability to adapt in the ring. Berlanga made it clear that the only real advantage Canelo has in this fight is his size, as he's naturally the bigger fighter, which could play a role in the matchup. However, when it comes to boxing fundamentals, Berlanga believes Crawford has the edge. He praised Crawford's technical ability, sharp ring IQ, and overall skill set, suggesting that Canelo doesn't have a clear advantage in those areas. While Canelo is an elite fighter with tremendous experience, Berlanga sees Crawford as more complete in terms of movement, precision, and fight strategy. Berlanga's perspective highlights the idea that size alone doesn't determine the outcome of a fight. He recognizes that Crawford's skill level could allow him to overcome the weight difference, making the fight highly competitive. Ultimately, Berlanga respects both fighters, but sees Crawford as having the superior technical ability, making this a far more even fight than some might assume.